Hello guys and welcome back to the channel for another weekly catch-up, another weekly reviews of everything I've been watching and playing, and I am what they call hanging today, meaning I am a bit hungover, so apologies for any misspeaks or anything else. Last night, yes, the National Lottery, I'm getting texts now. Last night was the Rubber Ducky Awards. It was awesome. I stayed at the after party as long as I could. They'd done a streamed after party also, and I have to admit defeat at about 2:30. It started at 9 o'clock. I had way too much to drink, folks. Way too much to drink. But it was an awesome night. It was really fun to find out who won all the different awards, what people voted for in the community, and the guys just did an amazing job. They'd done a really awesome intro. They had put clips of all the nominations in amongst when the guest presenters read out the different nominations. It must have taken so long to put together. So it was awesome to see it all come to fruition. So now let's get back to what I've watched this week. Okay, we've got the old screen recorder on. So we start the week, as far as I'm aware, on the 31st of January with two series. No, it's not two series, it's one series. I told you guys, I apologise for anything that I may say in the next 10 or 15 minutes. The 31st, The Woman in the House Across the Street from the Girl in the Window. Okay. I give it a 2.5. I seem to be in the minority. It was okay. I wrote mildly entertaining and a couple of smiles raised in this one, but ultimately not funny enough and not interesting enough to make it any more than average. I honestly didn't care who done it as we neared the end. This is a murder mystery series. This particular woman likes to sit in her front room with a glass of vino and look at her handsome neighbour across the way. She witnesses what she feels is a murder, and this series is basically about, did she imagine this because she has been having hallucinations because something rather tragic happened in her life and she's seeing a therapist, or did she actually see something? And that's what the entire series is about. You've got other people. Gory B Movie gave it a 3.5. I think that's Jordan gave it a 3. I thought it was average. I thought it was okay. It was very self-aware, it was very tongue-in-cheek, and it was very much poking fun at similar kinds of like movies and series, but I didn't think it was any more than average at best. The same evening, it didn't get much better, I watched The Last Thing Mary Saw. Okay, let's see what other people gave this. That one is not popular. So, The Last Thing Mary Saw, and the synopsis says, Winter 1843. A young woman is under investigation following the mysterious death of her family matriarch. Her recollection of the events sheds new light on the ageless forces behind the tragedy. So this is obviously a spooky wooky type of thing. What made me want to see this, and you'll be surprised when I tell you, it was Joe from Geeky Hijinks' review. When you look below and you can see him there, the first little circle, he gave it a 1.5, he hated it. Generally, if someone really hates something or really loves something, I want to watch it either way. And I did like it a little bit more than Joe did, but he wasn't very far wrong. This is very slow, it's very dull, it's very monotone. I'd written atmospheric, dark and moody with great acting performances, and I stand by that. The acting was first rate. The cinematography looked really like gritty. Just a pity the script was yawn-inducing and the entire movie ran at a snail's pace. This needed a little something extra to raise it out of the masses of mediocrity out there. And I stand by that. I think I gave it 0.5 point more than Joe there because I did think the acting performances were solid, but I just didn't care. It just was really slow, really dull. On the 1st of January, no, on the 1st of February, honestly, I shouldn't try to do this in one take when I'm hungover, but I'm trying. I watched Cop Shop. Now, I've written meh. I give it a 2 out of 5. I think maybe if I watched it again, I might enjoy it a little bit more. Gerard Butler in this was very reminiscent of Mel Gibson's character Riggs in Lethal Weapon movies. A bit manic. So someone's got to take the hit. On the run from a lethal assassin, a wily con artist devises a scheme to hide out inside a small town police station. However, when the hitman turns up in the precinct, an unsuspecting rookie cop finds herself caught in the crossfire. So it is exactly what it says. Let me see, there's people's scores there for you. Oh, the upside, yeah, I knew Dan liked this one from the stream last night. Upside Down gave it a 4. So you can see a lot of people really like this one. Maybe I'm in the minority. I found it a very stereotypical action movie. I didn't think anything really about it stood out. Action would not be my type of genre. I'm not a big fan. I do like, you know, like the Die Hards and Lethal Weapons and this kind of thing. I really liked that one with Frank Grillo last year where he lived the day over and over again. I've forgotten the name at the moment. I just thought this one was very average. I do really like Gerard Butler. I thought he was very good in it. Again, it just feels like this kind of movie by numbers. I feel like I've seen it all before. Again, just a personal preference. You can see a lot of other people really enjoyed that one. So on the 2nd, I watched 2 decent things. So the first one is the Tinder Swindler. So this is another Netflix kind of true crime documentary. This follows a love rat, I suppose. Let me read what it says to you. Posing as a wealthy jet-setting diamond mogul, an Israeli con man wooed women online, then conned them out of millions of dollars. Now some victims plan for payback. So this guy basically meets all these eligible ladies on Tinder. He has them believe he is like his father owns this diamond merchant company and he's one of the richest men in the world. And he wines them and dines them and he takes them on his private jet and he flies halfway across the world to meet them for a dinner date. And they're all like thinking all the Christmases have come at once with this guy. And it turns out that he's using one woman's money to treat the next one, and he's going on all these foreign holidays and all these meals and they're spending like 20 grand on a night out. It's ridiculous. And all the while, these are women that he has conned at different stages, I suppose, in his life. And he's making out, I'm not even going to tell you different reasons that he said he needs to use their credit card or whatever. But he cons these women out of hundreds of thousands of pounds. And in the end, he has conned millions. And there's one woman in this that just, I was losing the will to live with these women and why they were so willing to part with their money. He was very clever at what he did. Maybe I'm just a bit more, you what? You want how much? I'm skint. It's never going to happen to me. This is just never going to happen. But there's one woman, when she discovers what's happened, she is just ruthless and I just loved her. It got a little bit of comeuppance, but not anywhere near as much as it should have done. So I said, watching this, one half of me can never get past why so many women willingly send so much money to guys like the one covered in this documentary. The other half hates men like this with a passion. How they can have any sense of self or manhood when they spend their lives living lavishly off innocent, naive women. This documentary is worth a watch as it is so much original footage, texts, voicemails, etc., rather than depending on recreations. So we do get to see the real text, we do get to hear the real voicemails that he leaves for these women, video clips. I found it really interesting. I enjoyed it. 3.5 out of 5. So this one was recommended to me from a stream I was on a couple of weeks back with Playtendo guy Peter, Andy and Mike. I think it might have been Andy that recommended this one. Hang on, if I click on it, let me see. Oh, Mike's on there as well. So Mike has given this a 5 out of 5. This is a movie that he very much really liked. Al Pacino. So the story, Charlie Sims is a student at a private preparatory school who comes from a poor family. To earn the money for his flight home for Christmas, Charlie takes a job over Thanksgiving looking after retired US Army officer Lieutenant Colonel Frank Slade, a cantankerous middle-aged man who lives with his niece and her family. So basically the niece and family are going away for a few days and he's there to look after Al Pacino's character. And Frank Slade, Al Pacino's character, has got things in mind that he wants to do that weekend that his niece would never allow him to do. And this young lad, Charlie Sims, is unwittingly pulled along on the journey. I think he's kind of intimidated by this really like cantankerous old guy. I really enjoyed this. I really liked it. I did feel I would benefit a lot from having seen it in the 90s when it was released. At this stage, I felt it was a little bit dated and there was like very distinct marks that needed to be hit. This has to happen, then that has to happen, and that, you know, it was like very movie by numbers in places. That does not take away from the fact it's a good movie. I did give it 3.5 out of 5. So I've said wonderful performance from Al Pacino as a cantankerous veteran who is being looked after for a few days by a young college student and has made some serious plans for the duration. I couldn't help but think Jack Nicholson would have been perfect in this role. From actually reading the movie trivia after I watched the movie, the first choice for this role was actually Jack Nicholson. I think this movie would benefit from having been watched when it was released, as it felt a little formulaic and by numbers, as well as a little bit dated. Overall, I did really enjoy it. So pretty much what I said. I would still recommend it. I still did really enjoy it. I just wouldn't say for me that it was like a 5 out of 5 movie. Now the next one, on the other hand, is an amazing movie. I love this one. So, House of Sand and Fog with Ben Kingsley and Jennifer Connelly, who is probably one of the most impossibly beautiful actresses in the world. So Ben Kingsley plays a character called Bayrani. It says he's an Iranian immigrant who buys a California bungalow thinking he can fix it up, sell it again and make enough money to send his son to college. However, the house is the legal property of former drug addict Kathy, Jennifer Connelly. After losing the house in an unfair legal dispute with the county, she is left with nowhere to go. Wanting her house back, she hires a lawyer and befriends a police officer. Neither Kathy nor Bayrani have broken the law, so they find themselves involved in a difficult moral dilemma. So you can see there the scores below that everyone loves this one, and rightly so. You find yourself thinking you're behind one character, and right, so you can all see that my package with the drinking cup has been delivered. That's for my mum. These things, you can't write these things. My phone waits until I do this to tell me these things. So, what was I saying? So you think you're behind one character as you watch this, and you're thinking the other one is like, oh, how can you be like this? And as the movie goes on and as more becomes aware, that you become more aware of people's circumstances, you can really understand the other person's point of view. You can really put yourself in their shoes, and it's this real quandary as to who's in the right and who's in the wrong, and what should happen. Now, when this was recommended to me on that same stream, they said when they recommended it, you just can't believe it's come to this, and that very much is what you walk away with at the end of this movie. The performances are all outstanding. The characters are all really like multifaceted. I believed all the characters. I could sympathise with all the characters. What did I say? I cannot believe this movie has flown under my radar. It's a beautiful piece of filmmaking. Ben Kingsley and Jennifer Connelly are perfect in their roles, and you totally believe in their characters. I felt a myriad of emotions watching this roller coaster of a movie, and I'm so glad I eventually saw it. So I would thoroughly recommend this one. I can't say too much about it without spoiling it, but the whole thing is about this dispute over the house. It is legally Jennifer Connelly's, but there's an error made with regards to unpaid taxes. It's taken away from her and it is sold on to Ben Kingsley's character and his family who are living in it, who have had a really rough past and are trying to make a new life for themselves. And Jennifer Connelly's basically living out of her car. She's in a really bad situation, and you're sort of like with her to start with, and the more the movie goes on, you're understanding more Bayrani and his family's predicament. But it's an awesome movie. So if you haven't seen House of Sand and Fog, definitely check that out, folks. On the same day, no, I'm sure it was the next. Anyway, Bite Me. That's terribly rude of you, Lisa. Bite Me, this is one that I was asked to review by Leo at Geek Legion of Doom, so I'm not going to talk a long time about it. The review will be going up on his channel soon. Aaron from Screen Stars actually also put a review on this up, and what's really amusing to me is that he echoed exactly what I thought 100%, down to mentioning the same funny bits. The score that he gave it's the same as me, and a specific movie that he compares it to is the same one that I'd compared it to in my review. I would say it's worth a watch, but go check out the review on Geek Legion of Doom. If it's up when I upload this, I will link it in the bottom. But yeah, I enjoyed it. And on the 5th, finally, yesterday, this is a movie that is on Netflix at the moment. The only reason I watched this is because it's set in Ireland. I like to watch a lot of Irish stuff. So a black comedy set in a working class Dublin hair salon where the stylists become accidental vigilantes and community heroes as they take on gang members and gentrifiers? I don't even know what gentrifiers means, threatening their community. They would be what we in Ireland refer to as hoods, meaning like criminals that come in and demand a particular amount of money from the businesses, and someone inadvertently gets badly hurt in this, and these girls, the whole thing is set as these girls training to go to this like big hair show and try and win. And in the background there's something that they've done and they're trying to cover it. It's got a few little smiles here and there. I'm Irish. I had difficulty understanding some of these girls' accents. They are so thick, they talk so fast. When I say thick, I don't mean stupid. A thick accent's a really heavy accent. I just struggled with a lot of it coming from the same country, so that should tell you something. I would say it's not one that most people would get a lot from unless you're from Ireland, or unless you're a hairdresser and specifically want to watch it. I wouldn't really recommend it, to be honest with you. I've written down in my little bit of paper, oh Jesus Lisa, my head. So this week I have been watching, I finished season 1 of Dexter. I have started a rewatch. I think this is either my 3rd or my 4th rewatch. Watch. After finishing the last season, which I'm very happy with. I'm really happy with how my favourite TV show ended. I say my favourite TV show, this is my favourite modern day TV show. Quantum Leap is my favourite all-time TV show. So yeah, Dexter, what really strikes me watching it again is how much the characters changed as the seasons went on. Dexter's a little bit too cartoonish in the first season. Angel is a little bit too sleazy. As they go on, the characters really come into themselves, and you can see sort of like aspects of the characters that were done away with and the different bits that were built upon, and the season or the show got much better as it went on. I've also been watching Just Like That, which is the spin-off Sex and the City show. It's a guilty pleasure. I've always loved Sex and the City. It's just so easy to watch. It's fun. It's light-hearted, and I enjoy that kind of thing. So I think I'm on episode 8 of that or something. I don't think I've been watching any other series. I have watched quite a few live streams this week. I watched Big Polly's 5th anniversary live stream. I watched the live stream on Paul Tam's channel this week with Joe from Geeky Hijinks on. And obviously last night I watched the Rubber Duckies. That was from like 9 o'clock to 2:30 in the morning. So I try and catch live streams when I can. It's just difficult obviously with having a family and stuff to do. A lot of the time I'll try and watch them like in bits afterwards, but nothing beats being there when the actual stream's happening. So I'll try to make an effort to do more of that. But I have really enjoyed the streams I have watched this week. Game-wise, I am still playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. In news about that, this week I got my longship stuck in a tree. Your Vikings in Valhalla, and my longship got stuck in a tree, and to hell if I could not get that out, so I had to like scrap my whole what I'd played that day and go back to a previous save. I was not impressed. I am trying to raid a monastery and I keep getting killed. I don't know how those monks do it. They're all like big, honest to God. But yeah, I'm liking it. At the minute I still prefer Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It was more like set in Egypt. It was all about, you know, like Greek gods and stuff like Thor and all this crack. But, God, I'm even listening to myself, I'm boring myself. So yeah, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I'm hanging here. I'm about to fall asleep. I'm so hungover. It's not that I'm blaming the Cinema Squad for that. It's not their fault. I didn't have to drink so many drinks. So, yeah, that's what's happening. I do still want to get to Ghost of Tsushima, I can't remember. And my son has just bought Cyberpunk. My son is in P7, which I don't know what that equates to anywhere else. Basically, he done a transfer test this year and he got his results at the weekend and he got an A, so we're delighted with him. He's really pleased with himself. In Northern Ireland, to get into specific schools, the kids have to sit an examination. It used to be called an 11+. It was scrapped on the UK mainland, but here in Northern Ireland it still happens. Basically, to get into specific grammar schools, the kids need to have passed this test. And I went to a grammar school, and Isaac's going to be going to the same grammar school that I went to, so I'm really pleased for him. It's a really good fit for him, I think. So yeah, that's he, with money that my parents gave him, bought himself Cyberpunk. The guy behind the counter is like looking at me like, do you really know what's in this? And I'm like, yeah, it's fine. So he's 11 in a couple of weeks and he's got Cyberpunk, which apparently when you customise your character, you can customise genital size. He came running down the stairs to me. It says genital size, but I ignored it. I'm like, oh God. I'm thinking when I was your age, I was sitting in the living room with my parents watching the Fly remake, and that love scene between Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis was on, and it just kept going on, and I was like, oh god, just the ground swallow me. And my mum's like, Cahill, my dad's name's Cahill, Cahill, for God's sake, fast forward that. She didn't say for F's sake, my mother would not say for F. God's sake, would you fast forward that? So I remember the crushing embarrassment of childhood and anything remotely to do with nudity or sex in front of your parents. So I'm like, Isaac, whatever's in it, just don't tell me. It's like, you're going to say it sooner or later. Maybe I'm a really awful mother, but I don't feel that growing up watching horrors and things with a bit of nudity and did me any harm. It's life. Like, what's the big issue? So he's playing that, and I want to, the point of me telling you all that is I want to try that as well, but I'll wait until he's finished because it looks quite good. Although it's only in first person, you can't put it into third person, so obviously you just see your hands, and that gives me a little bit of motion sickness. I wish you could put it into third person. You can with a mod, but apparently gameplay is just ruined when you do that. So anyway, more waffle, apologies, I'm gonna go. So from what I've watched this week, if I'm gonna give any recommendations for things I think you really should check out, it would be The House of Sand and Fog, definitely awesome movie, and the Tinder Swindler documentary on Netflix, both really well worth a watch. I think I spoke about Yellow Jackets last week. If I didn't, I have finished Yellow Jackets and it was fantastic. We're going to get a season 2, and I'm hoping that more questions will be answered in season 2. It was a bit of a cliffhanger on season 1, but still well worth a watch. I did talk about it because I remember talking about Juliette Lewis. Right, I'm rambling again. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm trying to get back into the creepy, true crimey stuff when I get a chance. It will come, but that's what she said. I look forward to speaking with you all next week. Over and out from Lacey Loves.